But here we go.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Agents of Chaos podcast. I'm your host, Scott Anderson. I'm here with my co-host, my brother, Brandon Anderson.
Yes, sir.
We have a lot to talk about today. One of the top things we have to talk about is the trades that went on and some of the moves that went on within the NBA. Just giving out money like they was Oprah Winfrey and this, bro. I mean, I'm seeing $100 contracts, $120, $120 million contracts. I think LaMelo Ball broke it like $240 million type of contract from the Hornets. So let's get into it. How do you feel about, first and foremost, how do you feel about the Damian Lillard situation? Him demanding a trade from Portland.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, done. I'm out. I got to start fresh somewhere else. I'm here at the top, Miami, Philly, and I think there's another one. There got to be a 3-part trade in that. But how you feel about that?
Man, you know, it's so funny. And I'm just gonna tell people right now, this is a shameless plug. No shame at all. This is why you gotta listen to us, man. You gotta listen to the Agents of Chaos podcast. We be forecasting stuff, and it's crazy. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, we are recording this ahead of time, just like we do all the other ones. This Damian Lillard request came out on Saturday. We recorded the podcast on Friday. And what did we say? What did we say? I said that I don't like the Port. I said he need to get out of Portland. I said I don't like him going to Miami, and I said Philly.
Yes,
that's what I said. And you said because you brought up Miami.
I brought up Miami,
and I brought up Philly. Right,
Miami tried to give everything to get this man.
And I said everything to get. And we said it. We said it ahead of time. So y'all gotta listen to us, yo. Let me look into the camera. Y'all gotta listen to us. Check us out. We be telling people stuff before it happens. NFL draft, the day before this happened, we said DeAndre Swift needs to get out of Detroit because they drafted a running back. Jack said, man, why don't he come to Philly? We was like, yeah, that's probably a good fit.
He's from Philly, man.
Next day, he's traded to Philadelphia. That's why you gotta listen to us. But I digress. Let me just tell you what I think, like off the rip, and then after when you can fire back at me on this. But first of all, I like the fact that he asked for it. It's kind of like one of those things that was like, bruh, yeah, we kind of knew you should have been asking for this 2 years ago, to be fair. Yeah. But James Harden signing his option with the Sixers means that the Sixers got all the leverage now. They can move him whenever they want to move him. And I don't think he's going to be a problem. I don't think he's going to be like an issue in the locker room or anything like that. I think that they're just going to wait. They can stand pat and just wait back and see what's going to happen. What's
market,
what the best option is. But the best option is not Miami for Damian Lillard. They don't have enough to offer to get him. That's the problem. And if you look at the landscape of the East, it's anybody's game. I think that the Heat is a great team. They're very well coached, and they're gonna sneak up on teams like the Boston Celtics that don't have leadership, or the Bucks that got hurt. And that's what happens. That's what happened with Toronto's run. LeBron leaves the East. Kawhi goes to Toronto. They get to the NBA Finals on a bounce shot by Kawhi that beat the Sixers. And then they go and play the Golden State Warriors, and KD is hurt. And then Klay Thompson gets hurt. So sometimes it just happens that way. But assets-wise, Miami doesn't have enough. Damian Lillard, you trying to give me Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, some picks, Caleb Vincent. That's just not enough.
And that's why they said it's gonna have to be a third team involved.
Got to be a third team involved.
I'm hearing the Bulls. I'm not the Bulls. I'm sorry. I'm hearing the Nets because they're trying to dump Ben Simmons. I don't know who wants him. Like he can go to the G League or the WNBA. Like I don't see where he's playing. Like I don't see it. I'm sorry, my bad. Go ahead, finish. I don't see it. I don't see a trade with him involving it being in this, been making anything happen. I think Ben Simmons has to. You know what I mean? I don't think anything happens with Ben.
No. So here's the thing, and I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna get this light. I'm gonna get this light for me. But I want to say this. Here's the thing. When it comes to a 3-team trade might be necessary if you're talking about him going to the Miami Heat.
Correct.
Now, the Sixers don't need 3 teams.
No.
The Sixers, listen, Tobias Harris, James Harden, and a pick. Right. I honestly feel like that's a fair market value at this point with where Dame is at in his career, where James is at in his career. You get a 1-year rental. You get to see if you want to re-sign him to a major contract, another 3 or 4 year deal, kind of like how Kyrie got in Dallas. And Tobias Harris, get rid of that contract. Tobias Harris is a decent player. He's a decent player. I just don't like him on the Sixers. We got too many other guys that can do what he does, and he plays, and they're better than him. To me, correct. You know what I mean? Like they bring more energy. I like Milton. I like Maxey. You're not getting Maxey. If I was the Sixers, you're not getting Maxey from me. So unload Tobias Harris, unload James Harden, and you get Damian Lillard in Philly. And who just won the NBA championship? A guard and a big man. Yes. You said that last week. So now you got a guard and a big man if you get Damian Lillard out there with Joel Embiid. So I think that's what I think should happen. We'll see what happens if other teams get involved. I just don't feel like, and they was talking about the Knicks want Harden, or maybe the Knicks or the Clippers could get Harden. But again, for what Harden is and what the Clippers have, what the Knicks have, I don't want what y'all got.
Right.
There's nobody on either of those teams, unless you're talking about Paul George. And again, he's injury prone. But unless you're talking about Paul George, I'm not dealing James Harden to the Clippers or to the Knicks.
I got you.
Yeah. So that's just my thought process on that.
Yeah, man. My thing was like I was shocked by it. Well, actually, I wasn't shocked by it because he sees everybody else winning around him. And he's like, yo, I want to win. You know what I mean? I don't think it has to be like him being disloyal. He's like, yo, I want to win. And I want to win now. I think he definitely wants everybody wants to go to a competitor. I just think he wants to get out. You know what I mean? I think he just wants to get out of Portland. You know what I mean? I think Miami would be a great fit for him, only because, again, like I like the energy that I think him and Jimmy Butler together would be crazy energy, be really phenomenal for that team. Of course, they could do some things over the next few years, adding pieces, adding things they would need to make that happen. But I would love to see him in red and black, bro. I would love to see him with truth be told, I would just love to see him with a competitive team, with a team that has an opportunity. Like I mean,
that's where I'm at.
I sound crazy. Phoenix, right? Imagine him on Phoenix. You know what I mean? Phoenix could do something, could do anything to make a move happen. You know what I mean? That would be crazy. That would be phenomenal. It's about time that Dame Lillard finally was like, look, man, enough is enough. I did the best I could for you here in Portland. You know what I'm saying? And then go on and make that move. If he comes to Philly, man, that would be crazy. Him and Embiid, that would be wow. Again, but it goes back to me for Embiid. Can you stay healthy though to help that?
That's going to be anywhere he goes. It's like you always want to be healthy. But and like you said, I'm just talking about schematically, like just from a basketball standpoint. From a basketball standpoint, Damian Lillard has never played with a big man.
Right.
He never played with a big man that was a threat.
Right.
Now, we've seen it Embiid with kind of what it could be like, because James Harden has flashes, but he's just not consistent. And when you got somebody who is consistently a threat to score from the outside, like somebody like a Damian Lillard, you can't just double a Joel Embiid. I just think from a basketball standpoint, it makes more sense. I don't like him going to look, everybody wants to go to Miami. Okay, everybody wants to go to Miami. It's a great place to be if you want to go out there and do other things too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Lifestyle to get you.
but I just don't see another team where he would go and it would be the same. He would be competitive because, like you said, you got to look at the competitive teams that's going to be in the East, and who are they?
Yeah.
You know, Boston can't afford them. Boston, or you got to give up something for them. Like it's Boston, it's Philly, it's Milwaukee, and Miami.
Right.
That's really it. You know, everything else is a player or two away that from being competitive in that conference.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Big facts. So transitioning from that, you had mentioned something in regards to affirmative action in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. What time, something you wanted to touch on specifically in regards to affirmative action in the NBA, brother?
Well, not so much the NBA. Just I was saying affirmative action in sports. So for those who don't know what it is, and I'm pretty sure everybody does, but you know, affirmative action was put in place back in the '70s to help people of color or minorities to get into like colleges and stuff like that. So almost kind of like the Equal Employment Opportunity Act for jobs, but this is for colleges and stuff like that. So there's a debate, there's a debate going on because Supreme Court or the federal government, they decided to getting rid of affirmative action. So there's no more affirmative action. And in those situations, like there was sometimes where there was people that might be of color or minorities that would that wouldn't get opportunities to go to schools like a Yale or Harvard or Brown, Cornell, whatever the schools are. Well, not Brown, Cornell, but like those schools. And now they're taking away that because they feel like they want to even. I don't know if you want to call it even the playing field or what have you. But I want to pose to you since, like I said, I'm telling you about it now, and then I'll give you an idea about what they're talking about and what both sides of this argument are, and I'll tell you what my thoughts are. So the argument is the best. You know what the best thing I can compare it to for sports? The Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule.
When you start talking with the Rooney Rule. Yep.
Right. So it's just like the Rooney Rule. And then we'll talk about how it affects that. So I was listening to Stephen A. Smith on Fox Sports. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's a good clip. I think I might have sent it I don't think I sent it to you, but I'll send it to you. I posted it on my story on Instagram. But he's talking to Will Cain, who's on Fox News. Will Cain used to be an ESPN, guy, and now he's moving on to that. And they had a very, very good back and forth. And Stephen A. Smith's point was, it's not so much the idea of it being done away with now, which I understand that argument. But it's also the argument that white America was walking around as though they've been slighted. You know what I mean? Right. Like they've been slighted for so long, and hooray, now we've gotten rid of affirmative action. The playing field is even. Only the best of the best get in. And I'll give you some negative scenarios that people would bring up. They would say somebody who was a minority that was a C student would get in over somebody who was white or, Asian that was an A student, because that was in the top 10% of their class, and that other person was in the top 50% because those schools had a quota to meet. They had to get those minorities in. Now with this being removed, now it focuses on the equality of it and all of that stuff. So Stephen A. Smith made a good point, and I'll echo that point because this is something that I said, and this is where we can talk about the Rooney Rule being a thing too. When it comes to college, it's never going to be fair, especially with sports. But the difference is with sports, you don't see a lot of white athletes in basketball, or you don't see a whole bunch of white athletes in what. But the difference is that the resumes are something we can see with our eyes.
Right.
This kid isn't better than that kid. That's why he's not playing. That's why he's not this. He's not as athletic. He doesn't do these certain things. Whereas school, I get it. You can try to gauge that. But the reason why this affirmative action was even put in place is because those black and minority people or students weren't getting in, even though they were good enough to get in.
To get in there, absolutely. Correct.
So that's why it was put in place in the first place. So Stephen A. Smith's point is, you're asking an awful lot of minorities in America to trust the brain trust that's saying, no, it's equal now.
Mm-hmm.
To move forward and trust them to allow kids to get into schools. So, tell me what you think about that, or how you feel like it equates. You got kids, I got kids.
Right.
And then, I'll tell you what I was thinking also about that point.
Yeah, I always feel like, the best kids should play, the best kids should get into the school, but I know that there's always an agenda behind it. There's always some sort of bias behind it. That's how they get the checks cut. You know what I mean? If you're in school like a Harvard, or, you know what I mean, or like one of those like Ivy League schools, sports is probably not high, right? Academics are, right? You know what I mean? Sending off these kids, getting kids the top tier of the education type kids to have them come to your school. You know what I mean? Me, truthfully, listen, if y'all want to even the playing field like that to where y'all can get more, more of white America in there, listen, go down to these HBCUs. Go down to these HBCUs. Go to these black colleges. Go to these schools where it don't matter. Like, it matters, but it's like, no, we made because they wouldn't let you in out of Alabama. We made because they wouldn't let you in out of Clemson, right? But now that you were able to get in, now the HBU suffered. Cool. Undo it and bring the talent and the education. Bring the talent and the education from Black America down to these HBCUs. I said it when went down to the HBCU. I said this is going to shake that whole landscape up. If done correctly and done smart. I don't like how that whole Deion situation ended. We can definitely talk about that. But it still brought light to these HBCUs. A lot of these kids are now getting opportunities. So imagine over the next 3 years, these 5-star, 4-star recruits say, I'm going to Grambling State. I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to these schools. What will it matter? They still get a solid education. They still get a legit education. They still get the opportunity to play. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't feel the way about it. I'm like, you're still getting an opportunity. Okay, you're not playing for Nick Saban. How long does Nick Saban really have left to coach the man? You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. You're still getting an opportunity to shine at the highest level. And you're still getting an education. Like, so, I mean, if they want to take it away because they feel like that'll help, hey, man, come on down to these HBCUs and watch that blossom. Watch it blossom. I honestly think there should be people there, though, that keep the playing field as level as possible.
Right.
Don't try.
That's the part.
That's that part. The Rooney Rule or have the affirmative. Let's just start getting more, Caucasian or more white American kids in here. You know what I mean? Just for the sake of what? You know what I'm saying? Not athletic, not saying they're not smart, but diversity, especially in universities, is where a lot of greatness is created. You have two different minds from two different cultures coming together. That's what college is always supposed to be. Go there, learn other ethnicities, learn other cultures, be in a diverse melting pot, so to speak, of individuals so you can learn more. You know what I'm saying? If you have all people of the same race, creed going to the same thing, that's only so much you can learn. You can learn so much from other people. You know what I mean? Having Asian friends, Tongan friends, having friends from the islands, Jamaican friends, having Haitian friends, you learn so much. You know what I mean? So if you're really into teaching and learning, then, man, getting it out is like, okay, so now you're not forced to do it, but still on an ethical level, you know what I'm saying? You should be like, we're going to make it even. We're going to keep it even. But now you're not forced to a number. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, you 75% in no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Now, like the best of the best and keep it there. And it's kind of crazy because when you go back and you look, not to go into a long rant.
No, you good.
These not superstars, but these actors and actresses that were forging their children's stuff to get them into these higher colleges. You know what I mean? Relying on documentation to get them in. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we had to do that because it was the affirmative. It's like, come on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's into that. But like my stance is, I think that they should, if they're gonna do away with it, do away with it. But I still think that if you feel like you can't get into Alabama because it's like your numbers, man, go and take your talents to South Beach. Go and take your talents down to the HBCUs. Go on down to the Grambling State, the other schools like that, man, and still put that work in and still get that recognition and that shine. They're going to find you if you're good.
I feel like that there's always going to be racism. There's always going to be inequality. It's never going to be
Facts.
even. I think I understand what role that affirmative action played into Black and minority students getting into colleges, and I think what the idea is. I understand the concept and the idea, like you said, like we
Right.
discussed, make it even, and then we'll take it to the Rooney Rule. Now, see, and
Right.
this is in the good and the bad in this. Yes, I feel like, and you can vouch for me on this because we've grown up in both these eras. We grew up in
Facts.
the era where Black people was like, "Oh man, it's the man that's holding me down."
Right.
The white man holding me down. I can't make it. And I think at some point now, me mentally, I'm just like, okay, bro, like we can't keep using that
En-
excuse now.
Enough is
Like,
enough.
like at some point, you just got to work hard. Like at some point, we just got to be accountable. And yes, I
Right.
think that we can progress as a culture, as a Black culture, to get to the point where you don't blame the man for holding you down because we already know that's what's going to happen. So you got to
Right.
forge your way and fight past it and get through that. There is a point where that becomes a thing. But on the other
Yeah.
side, and I'm gonna make both points talking about the Rooney Rule. You got to look at things from this perspective, and this is what Stephen A. Smith was saying. It's like you want us to trust you with this affirmative action, but I think in 3 years, if we come back and we see that there's a huge percentage of minorities that are not going to these colleges, we're gonna have to throw this thing right back up because
Mm-hmm.
y'all not doing y'all due diligence to make sure that equality stays in this process for people to go to college. My case in point with the NFL. Everybody keeps talking
Mm-hmm.
about the NFL, and I'm going to make a negative point against a positive point for the Rooney Rule, but also I'm going to bring up the negative. Everybody kept talking about Eric Bieniemy. Why hasn't Eric
Right.
Bieniemy gotten the job? Why hasn't Eric Bieniemy gotten the job? He's one of the best coaches, offensive coaches. He's with Andy Reid. Andy Reid was calling the plays, and he's the offensive coordinator. Why he hasn't gotten the shot? Whatever. And then somebody just flat out came out and said he don't interview well. That's it. This
Yep.
isn't a conspiracy. This is not something where you just talking about a guy who meets the qualifications. Bruh don't interview well. If you're going to be the head coach of $1 billion franchise and sport association, you can't come in there talking like you talking in the locker room to the guys you coaching. It's just that simple. Now, don't get me wrong. I do know that there's a whole bunch of coaches where we be like, I can't believe this dude got a job again. I can't believe this dude got another job again. And we don't see a lot of minorities that have that same leeway. Same thing with Black quarterbacks. You see white quarterbacks, they back up for 10, 15 years. Black quarterbacks,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't doing something, in a couple years, you out of the league. So again, that's where those regulations need to take place. And then there's also things that happen with this Rooney Rule where you see guys getting interviewed that don't need to be interviewed just because you can say, just so you can say you check the box.
Oh, yeah. I spoke to a person of ethnic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
no question.
Right.
No
So again, where's the regulation at? Where's the NFL don't have any regulation. That's why they can do.
That's what I want to see about, because we mentioned the same thing at my job. It's like this way you can't move the goalpost on me. What are the regulations? What are the requirements of a head coach that you're looking for in a head? If you're coming for a job position, you need to know what those are. You should be able to know what those are. Like, what are the requirements that you're looking for in a head coach? I know it just can't be wins and losses. Right? Culture has to be a big part about that too. Like your culture. I think a lot of it comes to your ability to communicate and your ability to hold yourself accountable.
And,
you feel what I'm saying?
Structure. You have to build an organizational structure. You got to get coaches. You got to get staff. That whole spectrum makes up a whole team.
Yeah. Second, remember, oh man, I hope I get it right, man. What's the Bill Cosby cartoon?
Oh, which one?
Remember they made the FUBU go back and make the FUBU about it. They took our not our LL Cool J wanted to use the music to it. They had the guy Hush Mouth.
Oh. Why can I
Right.
Fat Albert.
I can't
Fat Albert. Fat
Albert, right? No one knew. If anybody else heard Hush Mouth, they were like, what the hell? But the one boy was like, he's saying this.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kenny, right? Kenny was that's Eric Bieniemy. Some people are like, what the fuck? But there's that one what he's saying, and I cannot articulate that. So Eric Bieniemy has to understand that sometimes you have to play your position and play your role and be like, yo, this is what you're good at.
Yeah.
Oh man, you got this. You want to be a head coach, bro? Listen to me. I'm not a head coach. I struggle with these points, but you have that. So let's work together. Which is why what he had in Kansas City was so damn great, right? It's because if you are, and I hope the car people don't kill me. An alternator can't be an engine,
right?
I mean, it can't. It just does. Oh man, but you're so powerful. You can. Oh, if you were to become an engine, you would be great. No, the hell I wouldn't.
Right.
But the reason that you see run so well is because I do my job so damn alternator. Right? I do my job. So, and that's what Eric Bieniemy, I think it's going to be hard for him to accept when you watch all these shows. Everybody's like, oh, he needs to be a head coach. He needs to be a head coach. He needs to be a head coach. He has the potential to be a phenomenal head coach, but things that he's missing are going to be the reasons he doesn't make it. So let him be great. Let him be great where he's at. You will go down as the all-time greatest offensive coordinator in NFL history. That's not bad.
No.
That's not bad.
No.
That's not bad at all. Who you want to be?
Not.
You saw what he did, and they thought he was a genius. Mark Trestman went out there and stunk it up in Soldier Field. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing for me. Like I talk to my athletes, I tell them sometimes, bro, where you're at is where you're meant to be, because that's what you're good at. Yeah. I'm not saying not to excel at it and get better at that, but I think sometimes when you got defensive coaches that want to become head coaches, it don't work. It just doesn't work. And then where do they end up? They end up right back at that defensive coordinator position because this is what you are.
Yeah.
Accept it and then help your team to be great.
You touched on a great point, and here again is why affirmative action needs the oversight. Why the Rooney Rule needs oversight, even though they won't have it, because in those same situations, there are minority coaches that were head coaches that got fired for stuff, and there's no way they should have got. Anthony Lynn never should have got fired from the Chargers. Steve Wilkes never should have got fired from the Arizona Cardinals.
Lovie Smith
should have never got fired from the Houston Texans. He should have never lost his job in Chicago.
Bro, who fires a coach that went 10-5? He had a winning season and got fired.
And went to the Super Bowl the year before that.
And they haven't sniffed the playoffs or a winning season since. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's been crazy.
And look. Like the Chargers fired Anthony Lynn, who had an overall winning record. They fired Anthony Lynn, and they haven't gotten anywhere else since that time either.
Yes.
Steve Wilkes was the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
Hold on. My dog down here again. Hold on. That's twice you can make the podcast, bro.
Hey, man, you might just have to bring Trent up on there, man. It's
damn. He like little paws downstairs, and I gotta be looking because I got my light off. And I'm charging the phone up, and I'm looking. I'm like, what is going on back here? I see my man creeping down the steps.
You got to put the doggos. You got to put the doggos in there, man.
On these last 2 episodes.
Huh?
I'm gonna have to put special guest Pua on these episodes.
Yeah, right.
Oh man. And if anybody's dog is named Pua after the little pig from Moana. That's why I couldn't like it. If y'all
I actually know why he's named. But yeah, man, just listen, and that's when people be like, this Rooney Rule is trash. Because y'all keep saying that these guys, they weren't winning. Well, how does Josh McDaniel keep getting jobs?
Man,
Josh McDaniel has been a head coach 3 different times. Matt Patricia was a head coach. He got fired. That's fine. Now he's over with the Eagles, which I'm fine with. But it's just you can't keep saying we're trying to give guys opportunities, and then when you give guys opportunities and they don't lose, you fire them. It makes
it's not what you know,
no sense.
who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Who are you having these lunches? Who are you going golfing with? Who are you who are you rubbing shoulders? There's no way they can tell me that's
Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier's another one.
Right.
What has Minnesota done since Leslie Frazier stopped being the head coach?
Well, here's my thing. Brian Flores. They brought him in to interview him for what? They knew who they were going to pick.
Yeah.
They knew who they would get. Why waste that man's time? You knew you weren't going to hire him as your head coach.
Right.
You knew it because you already had lunch and dinner with the other boys when you got the job. But, hey, but we got to just handle this one situation real quick, and then we can go ahead. Why do that? You see what I'm saying? Oh, no, I feel you. I really wish it went off of knowledge, skill, understanding of the game, understanding the X and O's. Because a lot of the times, bro, these head coaches don't know a lot. But the people around them, no different than the president. Everybody, the president's just the face. Baby, everybody around him makes him do what he do. And that's what it comes down to even with these coaches, man. A lot of these coaches think, it's all me. It's not all you. It's even your special teams coach. I'm talking all the way up to the offensive coordinator, running back coach, linebacker coach. They're all intricate part in making that organization. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so, man, I wish that I wish everybody got a fair shot, man, at being a coach, at being a solid coach, man, and because you'll find some players that are probably smarter than a lot of their coaches, and some coaches are strong enough to admit, like, hey, man, he knows way more about this game than me. Be a great coach one day.
Tyronn Lue said that about LeBron. He said LeBron came in one time in practice or one of the meetings with him, and he was sitting down, and LeBron was going over plays from the teams that they was about to play, from the teams that they had already played, and he said, "Oh, I need to be on my P's and Q's when I'm talking to him." Then that's why LeBron started to respect Tyronn Lue, because it was just like Kobe. See, this is why people that hate Kobe, real quick, this is why people that hate LeBron and like Kobe, same thing with hate LeBron, like Jordan, for the same reasons. Jordan and Kobe don't like guys that don't work. Kobe wouldn't be with you if you didn't work. LeBron didn't respect coaches that didn't work. If you don't know more than me, I'm not gonna listen to you.
and that's why I think we already saw it with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James would make the absolute worst coaches ever. They couldn't be coaches, and it's not because of their knowledge. Listen,
I think LeBron might be a coach though. I think LeBron could be a coach.
Here's my thing: because of his work ethic, and how it works, he's going to want all of his players to do that, and you can't coach like that.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right, and I think he won't be a coach because of that.
Yeah,
but I think that out of the three, he would be the most likely to make that transition.
If LeBron did anything, if he did anything after the NBA, he should sit down with folks, and I wouldn't just do it for anybody, right? Maybe make it like a certain elite of the elite group or high. Sit down and you just break down the game and understanding and break down film and play calls and stuff like that of what people. But a lot of the times, bro, that's hard to do because when you're in the game, you catch certain things you won't catch in film. You know what I mean? They might not do it in film, but they're doing it in this game for some reason. They're doing this instead of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And those are the things that LeBron catches. But I'm a firm believer in great players do not make great coaches because of how high energy they are about the sport that they play. You know what I mean?
I agree to some degree with that. I really feel like it depends on the player.
Because look at Ty Lue. He was a great coach. He was a pretty good coach. He got LeBron. You know what I mean? You got
but he wasn't a great player though.
No, it wasn't like, you know what I mean? These are not like phenomenal players. But
I will say, I'll give you 3 names of great players Isaiah Thomas was a great player. He was a good
Right.
coach. He was a decent coach. Larry Bird was a decent coach for the Indiana Pacers. He wasn't a bad coach. Lenny Wilkins. Lenny Wilkins was a great coach. He was not a superstar, but he was a good player.
Go down when you're naming coaches, like you're not going to be like, yo, LeBron James was the greatest basketball player of all time, and when he left the game and started to coach, he's up there.
No, I don't believe that at all.
Like, oh, you're serviceable. You know what I'm saying? You're serviceable.
I think Kobe. See, if we go tiers, I think Kobe would have been a good GM. I think LeBron would be a great GM. I think Kobe would have been a good player personnel.
Thank you. I was just about to say,
yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Kobe would have been great for player personnel.
Kobe's gonna fire everybody. He cannot be a GM. Player personnel, absolutely. Let him look at the character of people and then determine who can get. I will put LeBron at the GM position. I would definitely do that, and I'll put Michael in charge of marketing. Because you know what I'm saying?
He can't do nothing else. He can't do nothing else.
I don't want you team or nothing. Because it's the way Michael, it's the way Michael and Kobe talk to talk to athletes. They break their spirit down. Walked up to Dwight Howard and said, "You a stone cold bitch." Like, you know what I'm saying? Man, ain't never played basketball the same shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Her in the face. Michael Jordan got so mad when he went back to the Bulls. I saw the video because I was watching it. He said he got so mad back to the team, and the players who hadn't won a chip with him was riding the high of his championship, talking shit to him. Mike said, "What's going on here?" Like, you know what I'm saying? He said, y'all wasn't make it hard to be in those positions. Like, y'all got to deal with grown men. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can
I feel like if we were going to identify, if we were going to say that these players are like the armed services, right?
Yeah.
Michael's the Marines. He gonna make you want to quit immediately. And then I say Kobe's like the Army. Kobe will break you down,
right?
But he'll change your mindset in a way if he gets the opportunity to build you back up. I feel like what he did to Pau Gasol, which we've talked about.
I'm gonna run through his check.
Right, Pau was messed up, but he understood. See, right. I feel like Jordan, he's so competitive. He gonna be like that old man that don't ever want to let anybody win anything.
Right.
And he doesn't. I don't see Jordan helping you become a better player. He just expects it of you. I think Kobe expects it, but he'll watch your work ethic and are you following him and what you're trying to do. I think LeBron is I'm a drag you with me type of guy. And that's what happened with a lot of players is that he dragged AD into being the champion at that point.
And that's the thing Kobe won't do, because Kobe's like, look, if I have to force you to work. So look, what we got to do, which would be so funny, we got to do it. I don't know how we gonna make the post. We got to do something, bro. Let's build not a team. You always do, this squad versus this squad. Let's build a front office from entire players. I'm talking Barkley, Shaq, Penny Smith. You know what I'm saying? Penny Hardaway, Jordan, all these cats. If we could put them from their game style of play, from how they play the game, where do you think they would fit if you were building a front office that then had to pick and put you together a championship?
And you know what? I'm gonna say let's do front office and staff. I'm saying assistant coach, head coach.
Oh,
Because I'm gonna tell you something right now. As much as I love LeBron being a GM, nah, brother, nigga, you got to be my trainer. Like you got because like you've been playing for 27 years, bro. Like I need you to train my players to make sure they don't get hurt. To make sure they don't get hurt. Because I tell you what, I tell you who ain't. I tell you who's not gonna be the trainer. It's not gonna be Kawhi. It ain't gonna be Paul George. It ain't gonna be any of them dudes. Y'all is always hurt.
No, I'm putting Shaq. I'm putting not Shaq. I'm putting Charles in charge of media control. He gets you gonna be my PR. You gonna work in the PR department.
If you put Chuck in charge of PR, bro, he gonna get somebody killed.
I'm putting Chuck in charge of PR, bro. That would be so fun.
Shaq is handling our cap. Shaq is handling the cap space. Right. That brother got so many businesses and so much money. You handling the cap space, Shaq. Yeah, we gotta put this together. Hey,
bro, to break it down, and that'd be something fun to do, man. Just to see who
we gonna do it. Listen,
and Larry Bird, you can go Elijah, whoever it is you go.
Yeah, hey, who's gonna work on the big man in the post? Who's gonna be your post game coordinator? Hey, we gonna do that, right? We gonna do that. We got to put a graphic up. The next time we do the podcast, we got to put what does your front office look like? If you had retired players, what does your front office look like? LeBron, we can't use LeBron right now because he's not retired.
He's not retired. They have to be retired. They have to be retired.
Players.
I would.
All right. I'm with that. That's a good idea.
He is retired. Like he is retired. He is a retired. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I wouldn't have Carmelo Anthony on my staff at all. Nowhere. At best, you could run the off-season practices where we just like at the 7B.
Guess who's running my practices though?
Huh?
Guess who's running my practices though?
Oh, come on with the recording again. It's stuck. What'd you say, brother?
I was saying, guess who was going to be handling my practices? Allen Iverson.
For the Agents of Chaos podcast, my name is Scott Anderson. I'm here with my host, Brandon Anderson.
Hey, we talking about practice. He's running about practices.
Bro. Oh man, that's so crazy. I forgot what else we were supposed to be talking about.
Just ramping up. We can touch on it a little bit. I want to shout out to two shout outs. Yeah. Even though she's not in sports, but it was sports related. Felicia Rashad, 75. She turned 75 today. And then AJ Brown. AJ Brown's birthday was today. AJ Brown's 11th birthday was today. But just ramping up, man. Listen, the NFL preseason is upon us. NFL preseason is upon us. Okay, we're in July. Okay, we're in July right now. Next month, the preseason begins. And also, going to be talking about this. We're going to be having segments of fantasy football. I am a fantasy football nut. I run a league. I'm usually in multiple leagues, probably too many every year. I'm in like 4 or 5 leagues every year. I've won fantasy football championship 6 times. Even though I've had like I'm in a bunch of leagues, I've won 6 times. So I'm in the 6-time champion with whatever. I even got a ring. I got a championship ring right over there. And so I'm gonna bring it. Next time when we start the fantasy podcast, we'll put the fantasy football on the podcast and bring my ring out. But we're gonna break down coming up like over the NFL preseason. We're gonna break down like each division. So we'll go by division. we'll go by divisions each week. We'll start with NFC South, AFC South, NFC North, AFC North. We'll break down each team in the preseason moves that they've made. Because at this point, ain't nobody making no more moves. I think it's a couple. I mean, it'll probably be a couple. DeAndre Hopkins still don't have a team. Dalvin Cook don't have a team.
Unfortunately,
wrap it up.
End up having to wait until someone gets injured or something happens with a player down the line. Fortunately, that's what's going to – same thing with Ezekiel Elliott. I think they're going to have to wait this joker out. And just touching on what you were saying, they were talking about something the other day, which is why I want to talk about it. They were talking about which team do you think is going to be leading the league in points scored this year? And somebody said the Detroit Lions, the light-skinned guy. I know his name, but he said the Detroit Lions. And I'm like, a big jump for Detroit to lead the league in scoring. And we're going to act like not NFC, right? We're just going to act like they don't play football in the NFC. You mean to tell me you leap over them to say the Detroit Lions? And then someone said the New York Giants are going to be
they still haven't signed back Saquon Barkley.
But we're talking over teams like, say, the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, right? You don't have Eric Bieniemy there anymore. I get it, but you still have Patrick Mahomes. You still got Andy Reid. I can't name a better wide receiver running back tandem than the Eagles have right now, with tight ends included.
Yeah.
So how we skip over them just from go?
The Giants couldn't even score last year.
And the Bills, we're gonna act like they don't have any receiver. We're gonna the Bengals, what are we doing? So I can't wait for the season to start. Preseason, I understand this, guys. Preseason, I never really trip off the preseason. And I don't start looking at teams. Last year I didn't do it. Before they added games, I didn't go up until week 5.
Yeah.
Week 5 will really evaluate teams because I've seen teams go 5-0 and then get dog walk the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Right. So now this year I think I wait till week 6 or week 7. I'm like, I'm waiting to see. Then after that, I'm like, all right, now we know exactly who this team is. I did the same thing with the Eagles when they were like, oh, they're 5-0. I said, I don't know who they are yet. Mm-hmm. They went 6-0. I don't know what's going on with them. They went 7-0. I said, all right, I get a feel for them. 8-0, 9. I said, all right, they win games, but sometimes those games are close, like 24. Like, you know what I mean? Those are close win type of games. So this season, I'm going to do the exact thing, bro. By week 6, I will have no clear cut who's who or what's what. You know what I mean? Because look at what Detroit did at the end of the season.
Yeah,
they went on towards I think they were what 1-6.
Yeah,
right? They were 1-6.
They were on a crazy team.
You know what I'm saying? Like so yeah. I wait right around week 7 to do it. But I can't wait to lock in on this and get started because of the moves that were made. Because of some of the new defenses that were built, because of a lot of the new offenses that are out there, especially the one in Chicago, I'm excited to see. I'm still going to give them get it together to work that out, but I'm excited.
It's going to take some time to gel.
Yeah,
it's going to take some time to gel.
I want to see them. I want to see them have a coach longer than 1 year after a mess up. You know what I'm saying? With some legit guys, bro. And then I want to see what's going to happen in Seattle. I want to see what's going on with these brand new quarterbacks. Yeah. I want to understand. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Titans have 3. They got 3 quarterbacks.
Yes.
And they don't need 3 quarterbacks. So somebody's going to be on the move after week 3 of this preseason. Somebody's out the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going to shake
I'm
the
looking
NFL
forward
up.
to it. I'm looking forward to it too. I'm looking forward to seeing I'm looking forward to, obviously, Philadelphia, of course. And the thing that gives me hope with a lot of my team and Paul's with others is I think that Jalen Hurts, and people can disagree or agree or not. I think Jalen Hurts has brought the Kobe Bryant mentality into football. If you think about it, what other player have you thought of that put in work that made you say, okay, he's changing the game? Like, I can't think of any NFL players, Jerry Rice, maybe, Walter Payton, guys like that. Dude, you see offseason, they working, and you trust the work, not so much the player. Like, of course, I was a doubter of Jalen Hurts when he first came in last season. I didn't say he was going to be the MVP or even in the running for it. He may not even win the MVP this year. They're going to be looking at other guys. They always are. They'll be looking at Patrick Mahomes. They want to give it to Josh Allen. They really, really, really want to give it to.
Hey, he's done nothing to justify it.
Right. They want to give it to Joe Burrow, but unfortunately, Joe Burrow's ballots are going to be skewed because he hasn't beaten Mahomes. You know what I mean? Not consistently. He beat him. I mean, he was beating him, but he still wasn't when it counted yet. So I think that Jalen Hurts is probably not going to be in the MVP running, but I think that because of how he is and his work ethic, it's infectious. The guys want to work, and that's what you want. Like, I think if Justin Fields was out there showing work and showing progress, I think that if guys like Justin Herbert, that was Russell Wilson's problem. You wasn't coming in here saying it was rah, rah, rah all the time instead of grassroots, let's get dirty, let's have some uncomfortable conversations so that way we can get better as a football team. I think with Aaron Rodgers, his attitude and the way he approaches things fits perfect for New York.
They said Aaron Rodgers is probably the most overrated player in the NFL. He has just as many chips as Nick Foles. Well, not Nick Foles. Yeah, Nick Foles has one, right?
Yeah, he has one.
He has just as many championships.
I think Josh Allen is the most overrated.
He's a way better quarterback than Nick Foles. As many championships.
Listen, I said this last year, and I said this on the podcast. Yeah. We really start to seriously considering comparing him to Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford
got wins. They have just as many Super Bowls.
Matt Stafford got a Super Bowl win the first time that he played with a team other than the Detroit Lions. Yeah. He got one championship. And his numbers, obviously his numbers aren't as good as Aaron Rodgers. But as far as what he's been able to do is competitiveness.
And that's what we're going to have to start against if we don't move the goalposts. Is it the Super Bowls that make you a great quarterback? Or is it the stats that you put up in the length of your career? What is it that makes you the greatest of all time? What is it that makes you the super elite quarterback? What is it? Is it the stats or is it the rings?
To me, for a quarterback, I honestly feel like, man, this is hard. I think it's both. But I think more weight is put on stats. I think statistically, and that's why Brady is great because he got both. And he has both because of his longevity. And nobody was calling him the greatest passer of the football. Nobody was calling him the most mentally astute quarterback. But he has so many championships. And he has not all, but he has enough records where you just can't deny it, you know, at this point. But, like, look, Dan Marino is still talked about as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
He has 0 rings. But he was dog team so bad, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so.
But, like, and then you look at guys like, a Brad Johnson or Trent Dilfer or,
Trent Dilfer, like that. Equate to that was that defense.
Steve Young. Steve Young got one championship.
Yeah.
So statistically, Steve Young isn't close to like where Aaron Rodgers is, but I would have rather have had Steve Young.
Right.
So we'll see. Again, I'm excited.
I'm excited for this season to start, man. I'm looking forward. I'm going into the season optimistic about my Bears this year, bro. I'm optimistic about them.
Now listen, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
I asked some other people this, and I was arguing with a female friend of mine about this. This is you. Now, you can answer this question. It's probably going to be hard for you. Okay. Because you love Chicago so much and you're a Bears fan.
Correct.
If you had to take a quick vacation, I'm not going to tell you what time of year, I'm not going to get any of that stuff. You going to LA or you going to Chicago?
If I get to choose?
Yeah.
I'm going to LA.
Okay. Listen.
Chicago, brick city cold. Like, you know what I'm saying? And plus, I've been to LA before. Like, I'll go visit Chicago and go, hey, what's going on? Get a deep dish or two and go see what they have. But if I get to choose, I'm trying to hit Venice Beach. If Venice Beach still popping, Huntington Beach
still popping.
So I just want to go.
Yeah, just wanted to ask. No, if she watches this podcast, she'll be furious.
She loves Chicago, but she like to
she's from Chicago. She's from Chicago. I'm not gonna say no name. She knows who she is, and I just want to throw that jab.
No, I can't. It's crazy because I found out that I have family from Chicago.
Oh, word.
Right. That's from Chicago that lives out there in Chicago. I didn't realize that. I found it out. You know what I mean? And so all my favorite is crazy because all my favorite TV shows took place in Chicago.
Oh man, Chicago PD,
Chicago, the National Lampoon's Christmas, Chicago, Home Alone, Chicago, Red Ryder BB Gun, Chicago, or by Green Bay or something like that. They didn't like Green Bay. Like, let's keep it real. Like Die Hard, not Die Hard. There was another one that took place in Chicago. So it's like, look, it's like, yo, I love the city of Chicago. Everything that I love is about, but I also know it gets drown you in the lake cold out that joker too. They won't find you to the lake though, right? I know that. I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go out there for a stint, but not forever. Like, you know,
yeah.
Oh, but and I love, you know me, I love the snow. Not crazy. Ask me to move to Wisconsin. I'm not doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Only place for cold that I would move to without question is Colorado. And yes, absolutely, the fact that weed is free up there. It's legal there. But it's also very beautiful out there in Colorado.
It is very beautiful.
One place that I would hands down I'd go for. Where you gonna move somewhere?
Right.
Boom. Now, oddly enough, I would take Chicago though over Florida.
You know,
over Florida, I would go to Chicago. Like, you know what I mean? But not Cali. Not Cali because I'm biased. I'm sorry.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
You gave the right answer. I mean, now, I don't know, man. You might be right. I don't know. It's a toss-up, though. I don't know. I got peoples in Florida, too. And I like
Florida. They got gators,
I can't mess with them gators, man.
They got gators. They got hurricanes. They got bugs this big for no reason. Why?
Yeah, the humidity is awful.
You take a shower and you still feel wet. Like you see, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and I'm an inner city brat anyway. I ain't from LA anyway. You know, I'm just saying, like, this is lots of stuff, but we both from Philly, so
absolutely.
But we just don't nobody want to be here and be in Philly, so you really don't. So we don't really get a leg to stand on that. But I love my culture. I love my Philly. I love my cheesesteaks. Love my Philly
question.
And the bushel of crabs.
Oh, man, listen. Ain't nothing like a bushel of crabs. They're cooking them in some. I don't understand people. I don't understand people who cook their crabs with it. I don't understand it. Don't invite me to a crab bowl and I'll ask you how you cook your crab. You tell me you cook them either in orange juice or water. If you don't go get some Budweiser,
if you put some Budweiser in that and some Old Bay seasoning and steam them, John.
And listen,
what you doing?
Get some 240s, two like this. This is how you pour them in the pot. Just like this. Pour them in the
I remember when Unc used to put OE in that bad boy. Unc used to put OE in that bad boy sometimes.
Listen, hit it with, and listen, don't, and people, no, I don't. I'm gonna get the season that's at the crab spot that I buy the crab from. The pack that's in the back in the clear package that I gave away the damn. That's where you get that season to put on your crab. Don't come here
with
Tony Karachi. Man, listen.
Stop talking about it. I'm about to cry.
So I'm hungry, bro.
Me too.
Oh anyway, man, but
that's our show.
Yeah, man. So that does it for the Agents of Chaos podcast. Everybody that tuned in, there was a person who commented on our YouTube video talking about a player. I forget the name. I'm so sorry. I'll go check you out. It was just one comment, but we appreciate everybody that comments, likes, and views it. You know what I mean? And shout out to you for putting your comment there. Because what we're gonna have to actually do is we're gonna have to do a live video
Yeah.
and have like that way we can have a back and forth and a dialogue going, kind of like even if you do like a streaming joint. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know some. Well, of course, you will know some streaming sites we can jump on, or just go live on social media and just be like, "Yo, check it out. We're going live on IG. We're going live on Facebook. Wait till we get some bodies in there, and then that way we can have a back and forth conversation with the viewers." You know,
when the NFL preseason ramps up, I think we should start doing that, and I definitely think we should do one for like fantasy football for sure.
Without question, I'm definitely for the fantasy boy. Definitely for the fantasy.
For sure.
All right, man. So that's it again. My name is Scott Anderson.
I'm Brandon Anderson right here.
Brandon Anderson, man. And that does it for the Agents of Chaos podcast. Oh Lord.
What did you say before that?
Hey, look, I can't show it, but I blame it on the Gatorade. You know, man, I covered the logo and said the name. I gotta get up off of here.
You sure did. You blocked the logo. You blocked the logo and said the name. Oh
Damn.
You can't make this up. That's going on the blue reel.
All right, man. That does it for the Agents of Chaos podcast, man. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.